In this video, we are going to have a look at the xform handle visualization in FLAM3H and how that can help editing or reviewing a fractal flame. So we create a FLAM3H node, and it comes with the Sierpinski triangle as a default, as always. And one of the things you will do mostly when creating and editing your fractal flame will be to play with the pre-affine and post-affine. And so in this case we got three iterators that construct the Sierpinski triangle. The first one is responsible for the top part of the triangle, so we can move it up and down or left and right, and we can rotate it, and so on and so forth. We can scale it or scale it up. And the other two, one will be responsible for this part of the triangle, and the other one for this part of the triangle. So if you are familiar with editing and building fractal flame, and you have experience with any of the fractal flame editor out there, may that be Fractorium or Apophysis or JWildFire or anything else, you will feel comfortable in using the FLAM3H set of tool to edit the pre-affine or the post-affine. They're pretty much the same. However, all those third-part application, they have handle in the viewport that you can move around in order to facilitate the editing of those values. And so while FLAM3H does not have the ability to edit manually those handle in the viewport, you can actually visualize them clicking this button. So the three white dots say that the xform handle VIZ is off, and when you click it, this icon change, and now they are visible in the viewport. And those are very handy because it will show you what you are actually doing better. So it will be a good guide to help you edit and seeing what you're doing. So when you're scaling it or when you're moving it, and so on and so forth. So the density menu will have an indicator that tell you for how long those xform handle VIZ will be visible in the viewport. So when it's off, the icon will be an off icon. So for 1 million, 2 million, and 5 million density, we will still have the ability to activate them. When it's activated, the icon will change and it will be a turquoise color. And if we go to 15 million, the handle will be automatically disabled, because from 50 million on is supposed to be enough point to be some sort of a preview render or something like that. So we don't want to render the handle at all. If we click this, we go back to the default 500K. And some of the nice functionality that have been implemented are those. So when every handle in the multi-parameter flame tab, every handle based on their index will have a different color. So 1 now is red, 2 now is purple, and 3 now is green. And this is happening automatically. We can disable and enable, and we can rotate them and do all sorts of stuff. Then there are the post-affine. If we go to the first one, which is the red one, if we activate the post-affine, the handle will become dashed, and this is indicating that the post-affine transformation is actually on. And also a new segment is created, as you can see, and this one is actually the pivot of the post-affine. So now it's at 0, 0. And so it's placed there. And here we can rotate using this as a pivot, which actually represents those values. So we can do this And we can go back to the preaffine and rotate using the preaffine pivot, which is actually the center of the circle. And this is actually help to quickly review and say, oh, this is using post-affine, this is not using the post-affine, it's just preaffine, and it's just preaffine. And if it is using the preaffine, the post-affine, we can tell what's the offset is looking at this segment. Another feature that you can use is to display one of those as in solo mode. And so every iterator inside got this icon, which is actually the same as the off icon for the xform handle width inside the systab. So here we can activate the xform handle width, and here we can activate the solo mode, so we can only display one. In this case, it's the number 3. And we can go to number 2 and click this. So now it's off, and we can display the other iterator. And we can come here and just display this iterator, which we can immediately see is using the post-affine, is dashed, and it has this segment telling us where the center of the post-affine is, which is based on this value, and we can move it around. We can also activate the final flame xform, clicking this icon, or this icon, they're actually the same. And the handle for the final xform will always be gray-white, and it will always be displayed to show us that a final flame transform is actually in action. And we can display only the final flame transform, clicking this icon. And we can see the icons are different. So this one is the FF in solo mode, and if we come here and we go here, the icons are different, and this is the one of the iterator in solo mode. And the idea behind those icons is that the final flame is actually taking the result of the flame and apply extra transformation on top of it. So if we go and apply, let's say, a spherical, this is what we get. Let's play a little bit. And since it is some sort of a hierarchical transformation, so the combined result of those three will get transformed by this one. And so when we go in solo mode on one of the xform, if the FF is active, it will be displayed together. And you can recognize it because every iterator will be of a color, of a random color, while the FF will be always gray and white. And you can display the solo FF only clicking here. And you can leave them on and just load flame on top, so like for example in this library. And it's very handy to quickly review how the flame is being built, and you can spot the iterator that are using the post-affine very easily because they are dashed. Let's load maybe a more sophisticated flame, like this one, or this one, or this one, and so on and so forth. This one is very beautiful, I really like it. Then we can see at 50 million the xform handle width is disabled. And then it comes back in action after we go back to one of those that has this little circle on it. So the turquoise circle is telling us that all the xform are being displayed, xform widths, and if we click the solo mode, this will become red to match those icons. So we know that one of the xform is in solo mode, and it can be an FF2. And if we click either one or this one, we go back to display them all. Let's load another one. So yeah, they're very handy and useful. That's pretty much it. Thank you.